Yo, what's up, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire here, and this is the night of the guest presenters. We got Cuttlefish with us tonight,
Hello, everyone.
and we got Earth with us tonight.
Hey guys, right?
So I guess we'll be talking some battle pirates as always. Let's do a little bit of bounty cleanup first. Like, how did bounty go for you guys? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like and what didn't you like? Cuttle, we'll start with you.
Well, my background is I'm from a grinder, and I generally don't like PvP. However, for this bounty event, man, I developed quite a bloodthirst and went out and I hit maybe 2 replica bases the entire time, and I was just a killing machine, which is very unusual for me. So, Kixeye successfully motivated me to hit other players, for sure. I ended up with just shy of 100,000 points, which for me is fine. I mean, I got everything I wanted. Yeah, I kind of liked it.
Cool. Now, what did you mainly hit? I know you said player bases, but like around what levels?
Oh, players between level 100 and 109. Nothing above that, nothing below that.
Gotcha. Although the first day you like went out and clubbed a bunch of baby seals, didn't you?
Yes, the very first day, in the very first hour, there was a small baby seal massacre as I basically hunted around for people that just joined the bounty when they were worth 1,500 points, plus the 350 naturally. Oh yes, I felt bad about it, but they are level 80. You know, they did move it up from level 50, so... Oh well, after that I hit the 100s to 107s to assuage my ego, or my conscience.
Get rid of your guilt some. Right on. Earth, how'd things go for you, bud?
Yeah, I used preps to give people extra points for defense taps and then smash them.
Cool.
Just to get the extra bounty. And I pretty much didn't hit any opponent bases other than like a couple. And basically wasn't hitting anything that was worth less than 2,000, really, in bounty.
Cool. So did you end up getting everything you wanted?
Yeah, I got everything I wanted. Apart from actually getting hit, which was a bit of a bummer.
Right.
Like 1 or 2 people hit me, and then I think the entire world decided that it's not a good idea and went, yeah, no. I even left myself open with maximum bounty possible for like a whole day, and nobody hit me.
Yeah, I know you were trying to get me to come hit you. I'm like, no thanks, I'll pass it.
The curse of having a reputation.
I actually really enjoyed this bounty. I actually even pried my coin chest open a little bit and even spent a couple coins on the bounty because I was having actually a fair amount of fun. The first day I got my first 10K out of hitting replica bases, and then I was like, this is going way too slow, so I went out and started hitting player bases. Anything from like 100 to I think 114. I was going in that range. It was very surprising to me. Well, kind of wasn't, how many times you would go hit a player and it'd be like a half dead base with no guard in it. You're like, wow, this is like way better than hitting replica bases. And you're always guaranteed hitting 100 or above. You were guaranteed 800 as opposed to like the replica bases. The payouts were all over the freaking place on replica bases. Sometimes you would see like a 107 that was only like the 230 to 360 range. Other times it would be a 500 to 1,000 range. And like those payout ranges are all over the place. And I'm like, hit another player, for sure you're going to get 800 bounty. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, they're half dead with no guard in them. So that's what I ended up doing for most of that bounty. I got pretty much everything I wanted. I actually had a good time.
What I found interesting was obviously it shows that the opponent bases are copies of live bases at the current time, not reaped bases from before bounty, because obviously the new turrets started turning up in them.
Yeah. and I think that was something that we had kind of known for a while, but maybe it wasn't like as much public knowledge as I thought it was. And yeah, it definitely became very public knowledge this time around.
Yeah, it surprised a whole bunch of people.
I think the store opening early was a good idea. It definitely kind of incentivizes people to go and actually hit bases and opponents, because obviously you could spend the bounty as you earned it. So for the lower players, it was more of an incentive to kind of get them in and going and get them involved with it, really, which I thought was quite good.
And it's also fantastic because we could then test them rather than picking them up at the end of the bounty. And then for a player like myself, I have to wait until next bounty before anybody comes by and hits me.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you could get it and test it. If you didn't like it, you could, pick up the other stuff. So if you decided you were just going to purely go for the missile and then you didn't like it, you could get the mortar as well, after you tested it. So yeah, it was quite good, really.
Now, let me ask you guys a question, because I know this is something that kind of sticks in my craw a little bit. Like, does anybody else find it weird that like we seem to be getting the defensive stuff now and bounty, and the offensive stuff in raids? Doesn't that seem a little backwards?
It's definitely backwards. It should be the other way around, because you got a lot of PvE players that don't do PvP. They should be getting the stuff from PvE event in order to defend their bases, rather than having to do a PvP event to defend their bases.
Yeah, because defense, even if you're not a PvP player, everybody wants to defend their base, whether you're PvE or a PvP player. So I think all the defensive crap should be in PvE events, and then like your offensive shit should be in bounty. That's just my opinion.
Right, absolutely. Because now what's happening is people are just going to slam all their Conqueror fleets in their base guard. So what's the point of the defense ships?
I don't know. It definitely seems a little backwards there to me. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the stuff for this week, and then I'll go ahead and start screen sharing here. And Cuddle, we're going to put you up first.
Fantastic.
And I should be screen sharing now, so you should be good to go.
All right, the Twin Blaze co-op campaign. It's going on right now. It will end next Wednesday, February 6th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is a co-op campaign, so you can bring your friend with you, tag up with a friend, bring your fleet of Eradicators along with a fleet of Shrikes to tackle this mini-boss campaign. Only for the best captains in the game. This font is mucking me up. This campaign is a mastery run with only one encounter and 5 run-throughs. The first time one of these powerful targets is defeated, any player with the target receives a special badge acknowledging that you defeated it during the initial introduction. Has anyone actually seen that badge? Is it pretty?
I haven't, but I found it odd that this is not actually the initial introduction anymore. But apparently you still get the badge.
This is very true. But yeah, weird.
There's one target in the mastery run. For each target win, regardless of whether you own the campaign or not, you will get a shard. When you complete a full run, the player who owns the campaign will get a limited time component for the Annihilator Cannon and the Stalker Launcher.
So basically, if you own the campaign, your friend helps you go through it 5 times, you get a total of 6. Well, you'll get 1 each or 5 each of the limiteds, and then you'll have 6 shards, I guess, which could be for either or 5 shards, I guess, which could be for either or. And the guy who helps you will get 5 shards, 1 of each for either or. So
that seems like a little reward for helping somebody through something like this.
To be honest, they're not really that much better than the normal weapons. So, to be honest, I can't really be bothered to do this. I think it's just damage for not much gain.
I totally agree. Especially knowing that the Stalker launchers don't share stacks with the Raptor launchers. That means you're going to have a fair amount of the Stalker ones to, get its own boom off. And I'm just like, it's not worth it to me.
Yeah, and I have way too much repair time going this week anyways, so no, this is a clean miss for me. Also, I don't even know anybody with Shrikes, so...
But you actually don't even have to have Shrikes to do the campaign. Like, I know people who've been doing it with just Eradicators.
I mean, you can actually do it on your own just with Eradicators. So there is that to it. But again, I can't really be bothered.
But yeah, this is for, in my opinion, I would call this an ego stroker campaign.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And then, of course, the big thing is we got Pillage going on right now. That started about, it started about 10 minutes ago. No, sorry, about an hour and 10 minutes ago. And it's going to go till Sunday, February 3rd at 3 p.m. kicks time. It's a catch-up activity, and basically you can get a whole bunch of, past siege tech, a little bit of current siege tech, base armors, just all kinds of different things in there. Of course, as always, we've been seeing lately, you got the Alliance leaderboard prizes and the personal leaderboard prizes as well. And then you got the... and I thought this was really weird that they put tier 6 turrets and specials in this. I'm like, okay.
Well, the turrets are useless, but some of the specials can still be... I mean, we don't have that many turret specials in all honesty, so some of them can still be pretty useful.
Yeah, I didn't understand the T6 turrets whatsoever.
Me either.
I mean, they're not even any good for lower levels, really, either. So it's just one of them.
They can't even scratch paint.
No. So there we go. Anyway, I suppose if you're a collector and you want to have everything,
I reckon.
The one prize I would like to mention out of this list, because I know we're not actually going to show the entire list, right?
No, I wasn't about to make a slide with all that stuff on it.
Thank you. It's gigantic. The only prize I want to mention is the concussive upgrade one at 10,000. That is a pretty rare prize, and I haven't seen that for a couple of years. So if you're planning on running, I don't know, lurkers or revenants or anything else with concussive, it's a pretty good one to have. I know a bunch of people in my alliance do not have that one.
The Cannibal Wendigo is actually quite beneficial in certain base designs. So, as a tier 6 turret.
That is a hellishly long build time, though.
Yeah.
It's a hellishly long build time, and it's something that needs to change, in my opinion. Why should we be waiting stupid, 26 days or something like that to build a turret?
That's especially when it's tier 6.
Yes. And that's 26 days if you have an officer.
Yeah.
And that's after base parts, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's before base parts. Yeah, that's before base parts.
Yeah.
But after base parts, I think it's still like 2 weeks or something or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stupid. But there we go. So that's that's a pretty good one. SSKP enhancement as a special, that's pretty good as well.
Yeah. Two other things noteworthy of mention would probably be the Hyper 30 and the shielded circuitries.
Man, that Hyper 30 is expensive. I mean, last event it was 8,000. No, last event it was 8,000.
But that was bounty, and bounty points are different from event points. Like I would like 8,000 points in bounty was like stupid easy to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's just made it really expensive, really. So,
yeah. But I mean, 25 seems to be like I think that's what it's been in like all of these extra events that we've had. And I believe in raids, it's usually they add tack 3 more zeros on it in the raid and make it 25 million.
Also, there's no tokens in this actual prize list. And I mean, no dragon tokens again. Nothing to help some of the lower level people catch up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get more into the tokens when we get into the leaderboard prizes, because that's a really sore spot for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Irf, do you want to go over the targets a little bit real quick?
Yeah, so set bonus for tier 8 targets is 15,000. You get 5,000 for each of the targets, which adds up to obviously 30,000 points for the total. You can blitz each of them one of the targets. It's a 15 to 20 coin blitz on each of them. Obviously, if you blitz it, it doesn't count towards a set bonus. Use your razor tails in the 102, bat rays in the 100, and mount the cores in 90s. So lots of repair for some points for stuff that is not really great. Tier 7 targets, set bonus of 2.5. Again, 2 targets, 250 for each of them. So it gives you a max payout of 5k. Blitzings 10 to 20 coins for each of the targets. Again, if you blitz it, it doesn't count towards your set bonus. And tier 6 targets are 500 bonus and 250 for each. And it's Tide Seekers and Apollos. 1 to 10 coin blitz. Again, doesn't count towards your bonus. I mean, at the most of the prize points on stuff, obviously the tier 6 targets, you're going to probably, smash those out if you want to really grind. The tier 8 targets is going to be probably quite a hefty repair bill for most people. And it's not only that, it's the whole having 3 fleets having to repair is the one for me. I just not
I
a fan
know.
of that.
I myself haven't hit the bat rays or the razor tail target yet. I did hit one mana core target, and it seemed pretty much almost the exact same amount of damage as the last time we had these targets, which I believe the last time was Crampocalypse or whatever the hell that thing was called.
Now, from what I remember from the Krampus event, didn't we have a chance in the 102s and 100s to get shards for the Annihilator Cannon and whatever the launcher is called?
I don't think so. I don't think we started seeing shards for them until the raid.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm going off memory, and God knows I've slept since then, so I could be totally misremembering. But I kind of thought we didn't see shards for those until the raid.
And the other question I have is from the Krampus event. I seem to remember that the 80 target that requires the Hunter MK1, we could not take our bat rays in.
Yeah, I want to say I think all that lower stuff is locked.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, there you go. That's what the targets are. I mean, like I said, we're not going to go over the whole prizes because there's a bunch of stuff in there, but we did kind of highlight, verbally what we thought some of the better stuff was. And then we got the personal leaderboards. I forget who I said was going to do this one. I'll do it.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. But
I'll do
personal leaderboard.
I'll do this one because I had to bitch about the siege tokens anyway, so I'd be the perfect person to do this. So they got the personal leaderboards, just like we've had for the past couple of events. First place is going to get a rare rogue chest. They're going to get an additional heavy transformer, and they're going to get 40 days worth of siege class build tokens. Second and third are going to get the rogue crew chest and the transformer. They're going to get 30 days worth of build tokens. 4 through 6 is 20 days worth of build tokens. All the rest is the same. 7 through 16th is 10 days worth of build tokens and the road crew chest. 17 through 36 is 5 days worth of build tokens and the rare crew chest. And then 37 through 61st is going to be 3 siege build tokens. 62 through 161 is 1 day worth of siege build tokens. And then the category that I'll probably fall into, the 162 through 10,161st, we'll get the 1 day of siege build tokens.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be too.
Dude, this whole thing of giving leaderboard payouts for generic. I mean, like the community at large is screaming that they need build tokens to finish out this shit to do the raid. Like I just saw a post the other day, like where a bunch of people still weren't going to have their Eradicator finished by raid time. You know, full fleet. And we're going into the second raid for them right now, so that's pretty piss poor to begin with. But like, you're rewarding the tokens to the people who literally are the people who do not need them. Because if they're putting this much money into getting this many points in the event, then their shit's all done already. I mean, this is to me totally ass backwards. You know, you're I don't know. People who are putting this kind of money are the people who don't need the tokens.
It to me as well. I look at it and I just go, it's just another bullshit event, and it just really just puts me off. I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah,
because this leaderboard shit is just like, well, I can't really be asked with it. It's just bollocks.
Yeah, I mean, this shit totally turns me off from even wanting to participate in the event. I mean, I need tokens. You know, everybody needs tokens. If you would if you would have put some of these tokens in the actual event store where people could have bought them. I'm not saying give me 40 that I can buy in there, but you know, give me like five 1-day tokens or 4 one. Pardon me. 4 1-day tokens that I can buy with points. Then you give me a reason to participate. But
yeah, I agree.
It stands right now. I have literally no reason to want to participate in this event.
No, I mean, I might auto some targets in order to get a couple of hyper 30s or something.
So
that's about it, really.
On this leaderboard, it is the top 6 people will get the heavy transformer off of here. And the rare rogue crew chest is terrible. There's like a 2 in 10 chance of actually getting something useful. So that's a terrible prize. 6 people with a heavy transformer. All right.
Well, see, I'm fine with seeing the terrible prize in there because then it doesn't really matter. Then it's not like, you know, I don't know. It's that whole they want you to have a challenging game, end game, but yet they are basically right here saying they want you to buy your end game. And if you're buying your end game, then it's not a challenging end game.
Yeah, and
what you got to remember is obviously though that you can save up these siege class build tokens for the next cycle, can't you? For the next siege cycle.
Well, I think you're being pretty optimistic and thinking that the game's going to be here for another year.
Well, who knows? Who knows?
And they could have pushed the amount of siege class build tokens down. Like instead of at the 10,000 point, we get 1, which is useless. They could have made that 3 and pushed these all. You know, spread these numbers out a bit further.
I mean, why not do like point benchmarks for tokens? You know, like if you get X amount of points, if you get this many points, you get 1 token. If you get this many points, you get 2 tokens. If you get this many points, you get 3 tokens. As opposed to just like, oh, here, mister, you spent the most money and bought your event, you get 40 days, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's just rubbish.
There's lots better ways they can do it, which leads into the next thing is just as bad, if not worse. Like, do you want to go over the Alliance one, Irv?
So, Alliance leaderboard, obviously rank 1, you get a HT transformer, so another heavy transformer. So all of the people that are going to be in the top and already got one, so you're going to end up with 5 if you're in one of the top alliances, basically in the top alliance.
Is that the entire alliance gets an extra heavy transformer, or just the top person in the alliance?
No,
gets
the entire alliance.
Holy crap!
Yeah. So you know, yeah.
So basically, STS7 is going to get HT1 transformer ×1, uncommon road crew ×2, medium siege VXP tokens ×20, and titanium ×500,000, and then BPL will get whatever the second one is, and then 3rd through 20th is whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
My alliance will get a participation ribbon.
Yeah, even if you get that.
I mean, and like this prize list, especially, it's like I know my alliance. I can't speak for my entire alliance, but when I look at this, I'm like, well, I know who's going to get first. I know who's going to get second. So I'm like, why should I even try to talk people in my alliance into pushing for it? You know?
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and it's not going to happen in my alliance. If you want to hit the event, hit the event. If you don't, then don't. Simple as that.
And those Siege class VXP tokens are very valuable considering how badly the VXP events have been going for these Siege ships.
Yeah, but to be honest, I mean, it's cheaper to just coin the rank. It's just like, you know what I mean? I can't be asked with the bollocks, so just, you know. It's one of those. But hey, there we go.
This whole thing with personal leaderboards and alliance leaderboards, though, I'm not sure how sustainable this is going to be. Like, I'm sure people are like, oh, well, they're all excited. You know, it's like we've had it a couple times now. But, you know, you start looking at like 6 months of this same shit. How excited are those people going to be after 6 months of this crap? You know, they're not going to be able to keep up coining at that level.
Well, and also the...
Sorry, mate. Go, you carry
on. Thanks. Now I've lost my train of thought, so please, take over.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, it's not really incentivizing people to kind of go for it because, you know, having to be in the top 20 alliances across the board to get anything worth a damn is stupid, really. You know, it should be, like you said earlier on, points for an alliance gets you a set bonus or whatever.
Yeah, like set benchmarks, you know, like kind of like how almost similar to how they did with the community participation in that first event after the new team came on. Like if it averaged out where each player got X amount of points and everybody got like a 1 day generic build token or whatever the hell it was. You know, just put like a platform. Like if your alliance gets like, you know, gets a total of 500,000 event points or whatever, you get, you know, say 5 VXP tokens. If they get like 1 million event points, then you get like 10 VXP tokens, so on and so forth. Make it so it's worth everybody doing. Because right now, like, it doesn't matter how hard my alliance and I go at it, we know that we're not going to get first or second place at all, you know, because we don't shell out that kind of money. You know, so there's literally no incentive for us to even try.
Got it. The whale bait, that's what I call these top prizes. The whale bait has gone, in quality has gone down. If you cast your mind back to the Flying Dutchman event, the prizes in there were the anti-torpedo and the Gale 4, right? Which were exceptionally useful for cutting down the damage on our fleets during that raid cycle. And in that event, the top person got 14 million points in that event, with 2 other people trailing at 10 million. If you look at the next event, those numbers go down, and they've gone down ever since. And in the last event, I guess that was the bound, no one broke 1 million points, which is really odd. So their prizes to incentivize these people to spend a lot of money just aren't there. 1 extra transformer?
Well,
that's not good enough.
I don't think it's so much the prize quality isn't there, as so much people are getting tired of
people are getting tired of having a raid every week, basically. Is what it is. Because I mean, let's be honest, you've got the raid, then you've got bounty, then you've got this bullshit every week, every month, and then the FM's like I'm doing a fucking raid as well because it's just ridiculous. It's just people are worn out.
VXP Battlegrounds.
Yeah, VXP Battlegrounds. So you've got four events every month, and then you've got the weekly raid, or the FM, every week, which is like 25 million points every week.
And then you have your TLCs for the week, and then you have your regular chores like farming titanium, farming uranium, farming base parts.
I think everybody's just kind of getting to burnout point now, and it's just, to me, it's a big turn off. I just can't be bothered with any of it because I just feel like I'm getting overloaded constantly and burning out, trying to make my way through it all. It's, bounty I enjoy, so I do it. The raid, you got to do the raid kind of thing to get all the tech that you need to progress. But stuff like this, I just no, I don't care. And again, with like the VXP Battlegrounds, I was just kind of like, you know what, I really don't care about this either. I'd rather just, instead of having to mess about so much, I'd rather just coin the fucking rank on the stuff that I need because it's just pointless, really. So, in kind of summing up, I feel burnt out. It's too much content overload, and it's turning me off rather than actually, making me want to engage.
I agree, but I guess the 100 people that spend coin on these events is more important than the thousands of people who keep telling them enough, enough, enough. That's the unfortunate part until we get to the point where those people get tired of spending on this thing. I don't foresee any change coming up anytime soon. But anyway, they also have the what do they call these? The legendary loot crates or whatever the hell they were. That you can get those for 4,000 prizes, and you can get any number of random old limited holes that you didn't have before. All stuff that's way old and way out of date. I mean, some of them you might still be able to find some uses for here and there in niche situations, but for the most part, not really.
And the question I have for these is, some of these limited ships have a limit of 5. Does that mean I could get 5 Templars in a row?
That's quite possibly. I think that could happen, yes.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, I don't know that I myself see any that I'm like, ooh, that would be neat to have. I don't know. I'm just not seeing anything there that I don't already have that I'm like, ooh. No, I'm not even seeing anything there that I already have that I'm like, ooh, because so much shit is tier locked now. That it's like, okay, whatever. Oh, poor Carl. He said he took a chest and got a second Aegis. Yeah, that's a useful hole in today's day and age.
There's the Highlander nuclear cruiser and the Unshackled Hellhound. Both of those give that radioactive bump. But once again, with tier locking, I don't know if you can get that to work anymore.
Yeah,
I don't see anything else.
Yeah, I mean the new cruiser, maybe and for base defense at some point if we get some really strong radioactive holes and you want that extra reload and whatnot. But I don't know. I don't see anything offered that you can get in this chest being something that's going to affect your game in today's current game.
And I thought we couldn't put PvE ships into our base guard any longer.
Yeah, you are correct. So yeah, scratch that whole idea.
Right, so we got nothing.
Yeah, we got nothing.
No. Yeah, there's nothing in there that's really of any use. It's interesting that they've not put the Sargo's Pride in there. That's an interesting thing.
I do love my Monarch.
Is the Visago's Punisher in there anywhere?
No.
No, I didn't see that either. So, yeah,
Visago's Pride would be an interesting ship because of its stats, but
it may be too high up on the tech scale. Aren't Prides tier 5? And I think all these are tier 4 and below.
Yeah, I honestly didn't look to see what tier they were, but you're probably right. They probably are tier 4 and below, because isn't the bacon chest like tier 4 and below for non-limited shit?
Yeah, that's tier 4 and below.
So yeah, it would make sense that this was for limited stuff that was tier 4 and below. I don't know. Garbage. So yeah, honestly, my opinion is, unless you plan on spending a crap ton of money, or there's very specific things you want in this event, you can totally sit out this event and not really be missing out on anything. Bug fixes and tunings. Apparently, damage fleets could be used as part of your base defense there for a while without having to repair them. And then when they were trying to fix that, they made it so damage fleets couldn't be recalled while they were trying to fix it. You could use them. Then they made it to where you couldn't recall them after they were damaged. But now apparently that's all fixed and squared away. So, and of course there are, other performance and bug fixes, which they never tell us what they are.
Would you like to buy these resources for this much? Yes, no. What? How much?
And then CM Chris did a whole community diary highlight thing. I didn't put the whole thing. I just kind of went through here and did the highlights of what I thought were important. He's saying, let's see, other positive additions to the activities has been additional blitz and leaderboard options, which apparently nobody on this panel agrees that they're positive things. But he seems to think they are. He says, well, these are features we plan on tuning events around, providing more options to blitz and to blitzing and to get through the grind of the event, or stack additional prizes by placing on the leaderboards. As a type of agency we like to put in players' hands, engagement with these features has been healthy, so you'll likely continue to see these options available in activities. So basically what they're saying right there is, hey, as long as we continue to make extra money off of this, you're going to keep seeing these.
The only thing that's been had a healthy impact on has been kick size fucking profits. That's about it. It's had a detrimental effect to everybody in the game, I think, other than the top alliances, and it's just putting that split every time with everything.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to, if the only reason we're putting something into the game is to monetize it, then I don't want it there? What happened to that?
Yeah. So.
Overruled by people who actually wear suits.
Well, yeah, but that was Will Harbin that wrote that, supposedly. Who is the suit there?
Good point.
And then they go on to say the major rough spot with events was sentiment surrounding the January raid. While it saw high levels of engagement, there was concern, which I honestly don't believe that. I totally believe that the last event of the skirmish before this event had much higher engagement player-wise. Let's see, there was concern about lack of readiness that was voiced leading up to the start of the raid and throughout its duration, which we chose not to pay any attention to. Lack of readiness was one part, which made targets difficult. Another part having to do with PvE defense update work. I totally think that's a line of crap. I don't think it had anything to do with PvE defense update work. They have control over all these numbers. They chose to make the damage that high. So I totally don't. I think that second part is a whole bunch of horseshit, in my personal opinion. And the last part being the learning curve of engaging with new targets. Siege historically doesn't have a very high learning curve. You guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but nothing moves in Siege. So there's really no learning curve there.
But this one, what they were talking about, the learning curve, is where you came into the base on, because that was a critical part at the very beginning of the game. And then as the raid went on, they removed the various they locked people to coming on one area because the player base wasn't learning well enough where to come in.
Well, I think the locking had more to do with autoing from the app. That if you didn't come in a certain just at a certain spot and tried to auto on the app, you can get all fucked up.
Yeah, agreed. That's what it was more than anything.
Because I know people who like even autoing on the regular map, if they would come in a certain way and like they'd be in the battle for like 9 minutes and like they'd pop in and check on their fleet and then sitting there trying to shoot through a freaking mountain with their cannons, which it can apparently it's able to target something beyond the mountains, but it can't shoot through the mountains, so it's sitting there just trying to shoot through them and not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's a poor kind of setup, really. I don't like it.
Oh, and we're still voicing our concerns about a lack of readiness for fleets for the raid, even at the second raid point. So that hasn't changed, and this catch-up event isn't going to help.
My shipyard's free, and I'm not even bothering to build strikes because I just can't be bothered because there's just content overload, and I'm like, you know what? Do I want to build strikes in order to do the raid? No, to be honest, I don't even want to do the raid.
And my alliance is not building the strikes at all. I mean, we're a grinder, low coin, no coin type players. So yeah, we had to totally skip the strikes. So we're just hoping the eradicators can allow us to squeak through this raid cycle.
No, it's just funny. They say they heard these concerns and they failed to do anything about it, and they're still hearing these concerns and they're still failing to do anything about it. So, whatever. But I thought those were really
quite simply, instead of people aren't ready for this raid cycle. So what you've done is made an event so people can catch up and not put the shit in there that people actually need, which is build tokens.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, dude,
it's idiotic, isn't it? You're contradicting yourself straight away, aren't you, by saying that we're listening to the fact that you're worried that you're not going to be able to get a fleet out in time. So what we've done is we've put an event in so you can catch up and get yourself ready for the raid. But what we've done is we've not put any build tokens in there because we actually do want you to struggle getting your fleet ready for the raid. But we'll give you all of the parts so you can actually do coin something if you want to. So yeah, it's just like it's pointless. You should have been putting build tokens in there rather than anything else, really.
I mean, they don't even have freaking like Hydra tokens in there, or
dragon tokens.
Well, no, because this is supposed to be catch up for siege, so dragon tokens should have no place in it. But I mean, even catch up for siege, they should have Hydra tokens in there and Buccaneer tokens in there at least, at a bare minimum, and they don't even have those in there.
True.
So I don't know. So then they go on to talk about, they were talking about the PvE defense stuff. They said the result and the crux of the issue is we were trying to correct is a single piece of equipment should not mean the difference between hours of repair or complete failure running a target. The difference in one or two pieces of equipment should have an impact on efficiency the players can experiment with and should allow for different gameplay styles. And it should not be a binary difference between an unconditional win and a blistering defeat. However, when I went and was looking through the Wrong Thinker Thinks stuff and stuff that Wrong Thinker said in there, he says that players who have strong builds will find their builds are still strong and their repairs unaffected. They won't need to refit to be successful. Players who have incredibly weak builds will find their builds are the same or maybe a little bit better. So if you're saying after you do this defense thing, basically our fleets are going to be the same, why bother doing it? Explain that to me.
It just doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I'm not really liking this whole idea. I think we're going to get shafted, personally. And the whole point of this game, is it not, that you kind of build stuff to get the best possible build out of things. You know, surely it's more about education and kind of teaching people why they should be equipping those pieces of equipment rather than you know, them either getting
Rewriting the whole
punished
game.
for having a bad build. Yeah, the whole thing about it is, you know, people with bad builds need to be educated, not penalised big time. So I can understand where they're coming from, where they'll want to improve their builds and make them not quite so bad. But, you know, surely the easier way of doing it rather than changing the way everything works and stuff like that is to just, you know, educate people.
I totally agree. I've made that same point to them, and they have a, and I really don't like saying this, but honestly, this is the only conclusion I can come to, is they have a very high amount of hubris and think they know totally better what is better for the community than what the actual community does, and you can't tell them any different.
They're wrong.
And this line really gets to me. It's like, okay, so he's saying after they do this, my repairs are going to stay the same. But then he's saying this is going to give me more room to do refits and change stuff around. Well, if my repairs are the same as what they are then if they're the same and I'm not getting better repairs, why would I then want to refit to get even worse repairs? You know, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
This whole thing makes no sense to me.
And refitting is insanely expensive in terms of time at this point in time. So if you get a weak build, you're going to fall behind. They need to reduce the refit time if they want people to be able to shift with this data which they're giving us. Otherwise, people will look at that data and just not have the time to shift over to any other.
Don't need to do that, right? This is all they need to do, right? When they're coming up, when you reach the last raid cycle, last raid of the cycle, yeah. So they already know what the targets are going to be for the next cycle. So they just need to go, look, the targets for the next cycle. You know, you're going to want splash resistance. Splash damage reduction. You're going to want high resistances to ballistic and radioactive. Speed is going to be key. Range is going to be key, or you know, that's all they've got to do is just like make a post going.
Yeah, like the designer tips that they came out with during the raid. Why didn't they come out with those designer tips like a fucking month before the raid started when we actually got the hulls and we're building?
Yeah, because you know it's going to help those people that don't understand or haven't got the experience of what the siege targets are going to be like or what the skirmish targets are going to be like. You know, there's a lot of players that have been in the game that have only seen like a skirmish cycle and an assault cycle. They've not seen a siege cycle before, so you know it's kind of imperative really that you teach those people beforehand before you really piss them off like you've done now. In my opinion, it doesn't take a lot for you to say, look, you know, splash damage reduction is going to be key. You know, high resistances to ballistic and radioactive damage are going to be key. Speed's going to be key. You know, those things should be in the last raid cycle. They should be released as design tips for the next raid cycle.
Yep.
And it's just to me, it's common sense.
Perfect thing. When they gave us the rundown on all the turrets that were going to be in there and what the turrets did and whatnot, why didn't they give us build tips then? Because they gave us all the turret stuff like a month before the targets even hit. I mean, they act like rewriting the whole game is going to magically change all this. No, it's your lack of giving timely communication, which is what caused this problem.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of point in putting out turrets saying, "Oh, these are the turrets. These are going to deal, ballistic damage at long range." right? Fine. Is that going to be splash based? Is that going to be accuracy based? Just you want to put in there, we suggest using splash damage reduction, or we suggest having high evade to counter this. What does it take to do that, to make sure that you're pushing people in the right direction so that the builds aren't shit?
Well, apparently it takes more effort than they were willing to put forward at that time.
What's putting in a fucking paragraph into something that they've already put up, or changing the entire way that the game works? Which is harder?
Apparently putting that one paragraph in, I guess. I don't know. And the people who want us, and this is where it really floors me. They we're supposed to trust in them that they're going to feed us all this information correctly and everything. They couldn't even tell us that the goddamn Poseidon depth charge actually fired while it was underwater. They couldn't even tell us that much, because no depth charge had ever done that before. And that was a pretty big freaking deal. And nowhere did they communicate that until we questioned them about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm supposed to rely on you to communicate how the game works, and you can't even tell me that simple little thing. Yeah, I don't know. And like Carl said in chat, he was like, well, who's going to trust the builds that they give us, because they don't give us good builds in the first place?
We all remember that R16 ship we saw driving around.
My personal favorite was when Aerospec said about their one live stream about how players built terrible fleets, and then the very next week they tried to sell us an illegal fleet, and they're in their time limited offers.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, who doesn't know how to build fucking boats? But anyway, moving along. The Forsaken Mission refactor. This one I have kind of in orange because I'm not sure if I like this or not. I can see pluses and negatives to it. So they're currently in discussion about incorporating the Forsaken Mission activity into the event cycle rotations. This would see an event target first appearing in monthly raids, then moving down to the Forsaken Mission, and then down eventually into the map where it always goes. So basically, say, for example, I'm going to use the current rotation we're in right now. We're going to have 3 months of these siege targets. Then we're going to have 3 months of these siege targets are going to be our new FM targets. And then after that 3 months is up, they're going to spend their 6 months on the map as base parts targets. Basically, is what we're looking at. And then once these go out of then once all that rotation happens, the stuff from the next cycle, which I guess would be Garrison, if we're having a Garrison cycle. I don't know. They haven't even fully said that. That will work its way into Raid, then FM, then map target, and so on and so forth. Although how Garrison target's going to work its way into the map when the map target for Garrison is the FM anyway, I'm not sure, but whatever.
The thing is, right, what I see from this is, the whole point of them dropping out the Garrison cycle was because we do it for the FM each month, right? So the whole point of it was that the community was pissed off because they had the FM every week, and then they were all of the TLCs and the raid were all exactly the same as the FM, right? So now what you're doing is, rather than making that a 3 month period where we were all pissed off with it, you're going to make that now a constant period of pissed offness, because you're going to be having the raid targets, then they're going to be the FM targets, so you're going to be hitting the same targets for 2 cycles instead of 1 cycle in the same way, so you're going to have all of the TLCs will be siege, the raid will be siege, then the FM will be siege until the next cycle comes out.
See, I read this a slight bit differently than you. I see this as what they've done is they've reintroduced the Garrison raid back into the cycle. I know, and when after that Garrison raid cycle is over, those raid targets will be added into, will become the FM targets. I don't see us seeing a Siege FM or an Assault FM or anything like that. I think it will still be Garrison, and they'll just be a Garrison raid to get us new Garrison.
No,
and then
that's absolutely not what they're saying.
Because
I got clarification on this earlier today. And it's basically what I was saying. Like we'll have like 3 months where it'll be Siege FM, and we'll have 3 months where it'll be Assault FM, and we'll have 3 months where it will be Skirmish FM, and we'll have 3 months where it will be Garrison FM.
Well, that's terrible.
So you're basically having a raid cycle for 6 months.
Yes.
Basically.
And that means your ships are only good for 6 months instead of a year, because after that they won't be doing anything.
It's not even that. It's just target repetition. So it's a case of you're going to be burnt out after hitting all of the siege targets in siege raid, and then your FM's going to turn into siege, and all of the TLCs are going to be siege. So everything's going to be siege. That was the whole point of them taking out Garrison from the raid cycles, was so that you weren't overloaded with Garrison targets for 6 months or whatever. So
and this is
well,
piling on.
Here's a big question. They say after you have these targets for their 3 months as the FM, they're going to continue, then go onto the map as their regular thing that they are, whether it's base parts, uranium, or titanium targets or whatever. Well, what's going to happen with the Garrison targets? Because when they move to the map, they're FM targets. But you're telling us here they're not going to be FM targets. So what the hell's going to happen to them?
And this is piling on a ton of work for them, because that means every 3 months they have to come up with FM targets from level 40 all the way up to, I don't know, a couple months, 150 or whatever it is. So every 3 months they're going to have to come up with, what, a dozen targets?
Well, more importantly, I have zero faith into them to scale the damage down correctly, considering that we're not going to have half repair. I have zero faith in them to be able to scale the target's damage effectively to reflect that we're not having half repair while we're doing them in the FM.
Yep.
Because they've never scaled them correctly for when they actually hit the map. As far as targets we're having to do now for titanium and whatnot. I mean, this is bad. If this is the future of the game, I seriously fear for the future of the game.
I mean, we do have
if this is the future of the game, then I won't be here, because I'm not doing that. That's just it. Will just literally, I will not play, because it'll just bore the fucking shit out of me. It'll be worthless, pointless me playing. I'll just get angry with it, frustrated, and then I'll just be gone. So.
They go on to say, approaching target transition in this manner would extend the life of your fleet significantly, allowing you to continue to use all your latest content in the FM to get content and tokens long after the season ends. Not only will this add value to your hulls, it will also add more variety to your daily play experience without adding to your to-do list. This change will likely land after the next cycle in May or June, but we wanted to present as much notice as humanly possible.
Sounds like it's going to do exactly the opposite of all of that.
Well, I don't see how I'm going to, first of all, I don't see how I'm going to get longer use out of my hulls. I'm going to get the exact same year out of them that I'm getting now. So saying that I'm going to have longer use out of them, I think is not.
And how is it adding more variety? It's not adding any more variety, because you're just gonna. It's the same shit over and over.
Yeah, I don't know.
I need a lot more clarification on this.
I really
That's
don't
what
like
I need.
this idea at all.
I need a lot more clarification. I need this paragraph fleshed out into like 2 to 3 pages of explanation.
Well, what are your main questions on it?
Well, I just want to know, I would just like a better explanation of how exactly they think this would extend the life of my fleets, how this would, allow me to use all my latest content. I would like them to explain that paragraph and validate it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's still people trying to hone their dragons in to do the FM properly, and like now, and that they've been out for like a year now. So now apparently we're supposed to get our fleets honed in 3 months. I don't know. It's a stupid idea. It's a stupid idea.
I still have a bunch of players who they came into the game and they don't have a full fleet of dragons, and dragon tokens just haven't shown up. And with this, the insane build times necessary to get eradicators up or any of these other fleets, they haven't had the time to build the dragons and get them up. So they're mowing down the FM with lower level fleets. And that takes quite a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess, that's what they would have to do in the new version too. Instead of using eradicators to do the FM, then use hydras or whatever to hit the targets. I don't know. It seems like stupid. But anyway, then I pulled a couple things that I thought were actually kind of positive. He said something he was optimistic about for the future, but was not well received at the time it was released, was VXP Battlegrounds. I'm not necessarily myself positive about the Battlegrounds, but this where he does say, however, structuring a VXP weekend in a way that doesn't involve suiciding empty holes against targets is a clear goal that we have on their list of things to improve about the game. And that's why I picked this as a positive, because I totally agree. You shouldn't be expected to suicide your fleets to get VXP.
No.
And you don't have to make a whole fucking event out of it. Just put in shit that if we kill it, we get VXP. Simple. Ding, 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 ding. Does not rocket science.
Or if, just reduce the damage so that, and then siege fucking targets make the buildings worth fucking VXP.
Yeah.
Not rocket science.
Exactly. How can you not make buildings worth VXP? That would be the simplest solution. But also, they are responsible for this as well, as eradicators, and the brutal eradicators have required double the VXP to skull them than the Buccaneers and Hydras did. To skull a brutal eradicator is 125,000 VXP. To skull a the Flag Hydra, I believe that's 61,000 or 49,000.
It's less to skull out a breacher than it is to do an eradicator.
This was seriously dirty pool here to crank this out to 125,000. That doubled the VXP required from the last tier.
I mean, it cracks me up how they try to act like all this is stuff they have no control over. This is all the stuff that you have everybody control over. I don't know. Last several months have seen an increase in lag reports or performance issues while events are running. This is considered the current top community issue, as it most immediately is the disruptive roadblock to playing the game. We're continuing to investigate and alleviate problems wherever we can find them. So, I mean, that's a positive. I mean, I don't know that I would give their rating on how well they're succeeding at that a positive thing, but I think it's positive that they're aware it's still an issue and they're at least going to try to keep working with it.
Sure.
Surely it's like the amount of map targets that are on the map, yeah? When we had the raids where we could, the Fangtooth and the Hunter raid, yeah, where we could use the campaign tower in order to do stuff. Why can't we do that for everything?
Well, I mean,
put a list in there.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Put a list in there of different types of targets at different levels, like an elite target, this target, with a set payout as a campaign in there. Get rid of all the fucking map targets and just do it.
I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, the only time I really experience really bad lag anymore is during bounty. Like during raids, I don't really experience a really bad lag during that. It's mainly bounty now is the only time that I have really bad lag. But it's really bad during bounty. Like to the point last time, like pretty much I'd say 50% of my battles, I would enter the battle, I'd get stuck on that, record player when you're entering battle, and I'd have to refresh and pray to God that my fleet wasn't dead by the time I got into the battle.
I've seen a lot of shockwave crashes in raids and stuff like that. So and events.
In the bounty, I got a remarkable amount of shockwave crashes. Far more than I normally do.
Yeah, agreed.
I say put all the event targets back in the relay tower, or the tower outside your base.
Yeah, campaign tower. But just do it.
That gets rid of Merkin too, which is a big sore spot for me, but that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense that just put it in the campaign tower. Yeah, and everything, put everything in there.
They did tell us a little bit about the February raid and Valentine's Day. The raid's going to be called Molten Fury, and it's going to contain both Eradicator and Strike targets, which gives you, which you can battle to unlock a powerful Tier 8 PvP Conqueror hull called the Basilisk, which there again, in my opinion, the Basilisk should have been a bounty prize, not a PvE prize, but whatever. As part of this raid, there's a special Valentine's Day leaderboard offering a Valentine's Day themed Breacher Dreadnought and a brand new rogue crew called the Siren. Keep your eyes out for more details. And they finally did give us a start time for that raid, which is it's going to be February 13th, and then it's going to go on until February 17th. So we do get that extra week of FM then that RB and I were wondering about, since the raid had been pushed back this month.
So I have a couple of questions about this right off. So now all raids are going to, well, this is a comment. All raids are now going to be Wednesday through Sunday.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So that being said, contains both the Eradicator and Shrike targets. Do you think we're going to have to do both of them to get a bonus?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
100%, absolutely.
Right. And they have time to create a new rogue crew called the Siren, but don't have time to fix any of the other older crews? Great.
Not only that, they've, it's just, why? Why?
Well, I can tell you why they had time to create a new rogue crew but not fix the old ones, because fixing the old ones wouldn't be whalebait, but making a new one is whalebait.
And my final comment about this, I'm really annoyed that I can't get that skin. It's going to be on the leaderboard. I don't get anywhere near the leaderboard. Those are not the waters that I swim in. So, oh well.
Give me a point target, and I would hit it to get it.
Yes, if I could buy that, I would buy it, because that's super obnoxious, and I'm
you can buy it. You can buy it. You spend like $3,000 and be number one on the leaderboard, and you can buy it.
I like eating food, and I only have one kidney remaining.
Well, so, I'm just saying, and you could potentially buy it. That was more my point. But I think I don't know. Buying stuff is what's gotten this game in the shape it's in my opinion.
Skins, is fuck all. Just put them out as a prize for a set amount of points.
Yeah, like these are the types of prizes I don't really. You want to put them as leaderboard prizes? I'm fine with that, But when you put stuff like, you can get an extra breacher if you're top and a top player in a top line, so that's a big power shift right there, and does not lead to a healthy game status across the board. If you put in extra 8 heavy transformers in there, that's a big power shift. That does not lead to healthy game status across the board. You know, there should be a line between the haves and the have-nots, but there should not be a canyon between the haves and the have-nots. And obviously, this team has no concept of that, apparently. No, there's they had an update on HTML5. Says while this is not a change slated for February, the work for converting Battle Pirates to HTML5 has moved past consideration phase and is being actively worked on. Our central engineering team by the central engineering team at Kixeye, they expect it to be completed before the end of 2019. Quite possibly just in time for the game to end. I'm sorry, I said that out loud. I should have done that. As an aside, this work speaks directly to the point that sometimes is lost amidst the chaos of change we throw at you. The point is this: we want Battle Pirates to have a long life because it pays for all our other games that we develop. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Decisions remain in the past to evolve Battle Pirates in ways that assume the game only had 1 or 2 years left. This not only hurt Battle Pirates at the time by making it more exclusional and convoluted, but also put the game in a position where there's little room to move forward in a healthy way. Okay, sure, whatever.
I love that they've actually admitted it now, though, that they were just looking short term as a money grab.
Yeah.
Well, this does have me hopeful, because if they're redoing it into HTML5, hopefully they can get rid of some of the fundamental issues that are in this game that they haven't been able to deal with and all that. So maybe they'll be able to pry some of them out. Who knows?
Okay. And then they close up with saying, for those of you who ask us to focus on bringing fun back to Battle Pirates, keep Battle Pirates going, that is exactly what we have set out to do. First, we must build the foundation that will ensure the game has many years to come. Once that foundation is built, all eyes towards quality of life improvements and turning the excitement in the game up to 11.
I'd be happy with turning it up to 4.
What I want to know where anybody told them that part of the focus on bringing fun back was to make sure we had an event every single week. Where did anybody tell them as part of the focus on the fun that we needed to have personal and alliance leaderboard prizes for every single event?
Every week.
That drastically widened that gap between the haves and the have-nots. Like, you don't understand what fun is if you think that's what we want. And I don't know who you're listening to if you think that's what you think that's what qualifies to us as fun. I have no idea who you're listening to.
At the end of the day, everybody wants to be on a balanced playing field, all right? So that everybody can have fun together. And when you start shifting power to people, and it's always the same people, it just doesn't kind of add any fun to it, does it? It just breaks everything. So if you insist on having the alliance leaderboards and the player leaderboards, it's got to be stuff that's, not going to break the game. It's not giving people an extra edge, but it's giving them exclusivity. So, like, skins is a perfect example. It's fine. Give them special badges and stuff like that. That's fine. But stuff that breaks the game and breaks the balance against other players, that's not fun. So, that's all I'm saying.
I totally agree with you.
One thing which has just occurred to me is, since we have another FM before the raid, that means we also have a free weekend next weekend.
Oh no, I'm sure that they'll come up with something. They'll probably will be a bonus VXP weekend, if nothing else.
That would be actually helpful for many people in my alliance.
I guarantee you there will be something. I would, if I had a farm, I would bet the farm on it.
Yes, that wasn't it, but no, I do hope it's a VXP event. I have a bunch of players who still need to finish ranking their eradicators.
So I see Banksy in chat says if he gets flattened by pink breachers, he quit. Well, you didn't quit when you got flattened by pink onslaughts. So I seriously doubt you would quit if you got flattened by pink breachers. Although this one would be a little worse because it has little hearts all over it.
It's like being wiped out
like
by
a little like Hello Kitty.
I was just going to say Hello Kitty.
I was thinking more like My Little Brony, but whatever. It's all falls in the same category. So I don't know. What else do you guys want to talk about that we haven't touched on already? And while you guys are going on that chat, if you have anything you want us to talk about that we haven't touched on already, now's the time to speak up.
No, I've not really got anything, to be honest. I've got nothing positive to say, so I'm not going to say anything.
Well, gee, way to go, guys. This is where you're supposed to at least fill up like 3 or 4 minutes while I wait for stuff to filter in from chat.
Well, I'm just finishing up. I'm doing long refits on my eradicators, moving nuclear 1s to nuclear 3s. Yeah, that's all I'm doing. And building another breacher that's coming up. So it's an exceptionally slow time for me. I mean, I have an 18-day portal building. All these ships are rolling. I got nothing really going on, and I just log on, get what I need, and log off. I mean, I have another week to go before anything exciting happens in my base.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm hardly playing really, apart from hitting bases. All of the PvE stuff is just overwhelming me, and I just can't be bothered. I'm, predominantly a PvP player anyway, but the PvE aspect is it's over the top for me, and it's grinding me down, and it pits me off big time in even actually playing. So, and I'm starting to feel now with the FM being so many points and everything else, I don't want to even bother doing it. I didn't even get the tokens last week because I couldn't be bothered to do it.
I know Candy Apple in chat said something about talk about the cut and paste CS responses that have nothing to do with the issues you raised. Yeah, we've talked about that multiple times. I actually went into specifics on a ticket that I raised earlier in the week as far as I was asking for compensation on my siren that I had equipped all kinds of ballistic countermeasures, and they responded with a ticket about how hopes and valiants got nerfed. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with what I sent the ticket about. So I responded to that saying, you obviously did not read my ticket, blah, 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 blah. And then I got a response back. It's like, oh, sorry for the frustration. Perhaps you can talk to other people about what ballistic weapons you should be using. And I'm like, wow, like twice in a row. Not only did you not read my ticket the first time, but when I pointed out you didn't read my ticket, you failed to read it again the second time. I'm like, how fucking incompetent are you?
You've got to love that, haven't you? It's just,
but, I mean, it's whatever.
As a brief side note about that, about the Arbalest gain, that 75% flak evasion, that did hurt my base guard because I had a bunch of countermeasures designed to stop those. However, even without them, if I dump a breacher way back by my island, the breacher's countermeasures have no problem, even with the 75% flak evade, of completely wiping out breacher fire.
Oh, yeah, funny story. That was actually the reason that the ARBs were given the 75% flak evade, really, because the breachers were way too effective at shooting them down, and apparently giving them that 75% flak evade has not helped that issue whatsoever.
Nope. All it's done is maybe
you nerfed my siren, and in many people's cases, like 2 or 3 anti-ballistic hulls that they had built, and you didn't even addressed the main problem by doing that. Good job. Well tested.
Wouldn't it have just been easier to nerf the accuracy of the countermeasure on the breacher?
I brought that
Just
up.
saying.
I brought that up. But apparently, no, it wasn't.
Well, so you've
I got
popped
no
up
explanation as to why it wasn't, but that was the answer that I was given. That actually, no, it wasn't easier to nerf that.
Well, great. So now I've yanked out my siren or my curator, and I've put in a breacher way back by my island to do countermeasure duty.
Which
Great.
is ridiculous.
It's stupid. But there we go. Oh, and obviously, you know as well that frontline countermeasures increases the range as well on breaches for their countermeasure, built-in countermeasure. So all countermeasure specials increase the built-in countermeasure range as well.
Well, and Stardust Princess Warrior in there was saying so an anti-breacher would be helpful. No, you don't actually have to put any countermeasures on the breacher. It has the built-in one, and that is super effective. So if you just want the anti-ability from your breacher, you can, in theory, put a breacher with a Thud 1 at the back of your base, and its anti will work wonderfully. So yeah, you don't even have to put anything on it. You just slap it in there.
There's certain bases that I've hit, and you can't even get through the gates at the front because the Aunties from the dreads are just shooting down all of you arbalists. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But yeah, but we'll nerf the countermeasures that weren't really the problem, but we'll leave the ones intact that were the problem. Well, that seems par for the course lately. Anywho, anything else from chat or from you guys? I know RB said something about he wants a good titanium target that actually pays out titanium that's worth a damn since we need so goddamn much nowadays.
Oh, hey, RB. I mean, we got the Proto Apollos, what, like a month and a half ago? I mean, the SSRB target for titanium has to be just around the corner, right?
Yeah. I don't, okay, and I still stand strong with what I've said for a while now. Since I have all the daily TLCs that don't work, why not just come out with 2 new TLCs? One that gives you a full warehouse of titanium, and one that gives you a full warehouse of base parts. Boom. You have working TLCs again, and they're ones that people actually want.
Yeah.
Why is that hard? Why is that difficult? I don't know. Great idea, in my opinion. I'm sure there's probably lots of other people out there that would agree with that. As opposed to, oh look, I only have a TLC every other day, and it's the fucking uranium one. Is that the only one that's working at the moment?
Yeah, and because that's really hard to get uranium, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I mean, throwing those free bat rays into an SSRB is so difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I actually drive it in the SSRB because I only get 1 minute damage if I drive.
See, you'll drive that, but you won't drive other things. You and I auto the exact opposite things.
Well, see, the thing is, right, I will drive if it means that I don't get any repair at all.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's when I started autoing, looked more at autoing as opposed to driving. When it didn't matter how well I drove, I was still going to take damage. I'm like, well, fuck this then. This is a waste of my goddamn time.
Yeah, and I'll drive FM targets because I only take 9 minutes damage for a 1-2-1 if I drive. So
yeah, I don't even drive the FM anymore. I let it auto. All right, well, Cuddle has to go let his dog out. Apparently, it's about to explode, so that's probably a good time to end the stream.
Sorry, everyone, but yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to call this one. As always, thanks, chat, for coming out and watching us. You always help us out by supplying us with questions and things to talk about. And thank you to everybody, obviously, who's going to watch later. We definitely appreciate all the views. So give us a thumbs up, like us, subscribe us. If you haven't already sent your friends to the page, shame on you. Do so now. And we will talk to you on Saturday. And I will go ahead and put a link in the chat for the after show for anybody who wants to jump on. But until Saturday, we will talk to you then. You guys have a great night.